Hola y bienvenidos mis amigos to Lindita's Kitchen. I am Lindita and today we're going to be making carne guisada. And what is that? Carne guisada, well, it's meat. I'm going to have 3 pounds of meat here, and I'm using actually the chuck steak, and you can also use like a sirloin, but this has got a little bit more grasa, they say, like a little fat in there, and that's what you want because when it cooks up, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So before I get started chopping this, I'm going to go ahead and use I'm using un ajo, 1 garlic clove. I'm going to mash this up because it goes with this recipe so good. And of course, I love my molcajete. Can't be without it. Belonged to mi abuelita y mi mamá. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this just going, and you can smell the aromas, hijo. I wish you were here with me, but you're not. So I am going to add the water a little to the stone because what you want to do is just mix it up a little bit, okay? Así. I don't know if you can see it, but okay, you get the idea. All right, we're going to set this aside, and then, like I said, I have 3 pounds of meat. So it's going to make a lot of carne. And the difference is, carne guisada, we're going to be cooking it in a Dutch oven, or you can use like a iron skillet. I just don't have one big enough. I will be getting one though. And so I'm going to use my Dutch oven for this. And carne asada is actually carne that you grill outside. And we'll be doing that this summer. So hang tight, okay? But for this, we're doing the carne guisada. And I'm going to remove a little bit of the fat. And we're gonna cube it. So like I said, you don't want to make it too small because the meat does shrink down a little bit. So when it shrinks, it gets too tiny, too small. So you want it kind of bite size. So be generous, okay? Because you have company or your familia. And this is, like I said, a recipe that actually I grew up with too. Con mi mamá. And it's something that actually everybody has in their cabinet. And I'll show you. All the ingredients are really easy. I'm gonna remove this big piece of fat. Okay, we'll set it aside. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut these to a little over bite size. Because like I said, they will shrink down a little bit. Okay. So we'll take these. I'll put them on our platter and then I'll get it going. Okay. Oops, remove that. Las carnitas. Okay, so we're getting our Dutch oven a little warm here. Get it ready, and I've got about 2 teaspoons of oil, the olive oil. And I'm gonna just hold off because I may need this later, okay? So we'll go ahead. Let it heat up a little bit more. Maybe I'll add a little bit more. So I'm going to eventually use all of it. So let's just see. Want the sizzle going. Just like that. I'm going to toss all this in. And this recipe here, like I said, mi abuelita, it goes back in our family, and I think everybody has their own kind of traditional way of cooking it as well. This is my way, our way. So I'm gonna just mix it up a little bit, turn down the heat. Yeah. Las carnitas is getting you want to fry them up a little bit. Get them nice and brown. Así. And so what I'm going to do, while it's kind of cooking, I like to add my comino cumin. So I have 1 teaspoon of the cumin powder. Let's just sprinkle it in there. I'm doing it with my left hand, so it makes it kind of hard, but you get the drift. So you want to mix it up in the meat. Get the flavors in there. Híjole. This makes a lot. I'm telling you, this will serve, 4 to, 6 people, depending on what size your family is. And like I said, this is a recipe that you could make at home, because what ingredients do you need? You need the ground cumin. We're going to add some garlic powder. I love garlic, so I'm going to, instead of using just salt, I'm using the garlic salt. Okay? And of course I'm going to be throwing in my garlic with the liquid. So when I cook that up a little bit, I'm going to turn it up just a little bit more, get it nice and brown, because next what I'll be doing is just adding the flour. And the flour, I added about 4 tablespoons of the flour, the unbleached. You can use any type of flour, your preference, but I'm using that for this recipe. And if you want it thicker, you want the gravy thicker, add more flour. And you'll figure that out after you start making this up and it's cooking up. Híjole. This is a good time to add your pepper, pimienta. See, you're learning some español aquí en la casa de Lindita. It's great. And this is going to cook for at least 30 minutes. So the meat, will get cooked. So I'm going to go ahead and add my flour to it. So, and I kind of like to use my hands on this to kind of really sprinkle it. Because if you just dump it, it gets kind of, clumpy. So we don't want to do that. We want to just dance with it. Así. I'm going to mix it all up. Yeah. And I do this also with my green chili. And you'll get that recipe later on. After I get my chilies from Nick's Garden Center, they got the best there, let me tell you. We'll do some green chili. And you'll be the talk of the town. Okay, so that's going to continue to cook. Now, this is a good time, if you need the oil, which I don't think you do, the oil base. I think that's plenty. So we're going to go ahead and add 3/4 of a cup of water. I'll just pour that in there. See? And then this is a good time to add my ajo right there. We love that garlic in this house. Oh yeah. It's going to thicken up too, so. And here I'm using about 8 to 11 ounces of the beef broth. Okay, so you're going to keep an eye on it. I have it up. I'm going to turn it. Let's see, it's pretty high right now. So what we want to do is kind of get it to a little boil, in a little bit. And then we're going to tone it down, Just keep it nice in a nice simmer. And I usually don't cover this dish because what happens too when you cover it, the meat gets hard. It gets stiff. It gets harder. So the longer it cooks, obviously the better. But you're going to see here in a little bit, it will thicken up. Okay, so we're going to turn it down. Well, let's see. Let's just keep it up for a little bit. I'll keep it high. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper. Pimienta. Así. Okay. So it's going to cook for, what did I say? 30 minutes. So we want to do that. So let it just slowly cook. You don't put the lid on it. I don't. Because then you'll get some hard meat. You don't want that. Okay, now for a Spanish rice. I'm telling you, this recipe is amazing because it'll take you back to your childhood. Actually, it takes me back to my childhood. So again, we're going to use our molcajete. And again, if you don't have one, use a mincer. You can just finely chop your garlic. You're going to use 1 clove. And I feel their presence all around me. Mi familia. You'll get that. So we're gonna go ahead, add a little bit of water, not too much. And it's a little warm because I'm gonna use it also for my Spanish rice. So you'll see why. Okay. So let's set that aside. And we're gonna use about 1/4 of the onion. And if you've seen my past shows, you know, there's a little technique that I use, and I'm gonna go ahead and use it. But this time I'm going a little smaller because I want them not as big, large diced. So I'm gonna go a little smaller here. And then I just chop it. And then I'm gonna save this onion for later because there's a reason for all this. Just saying. See how fine it is? So you can go smaller or don't make the cuts too big. Okay, so we're gonna save this for my later dish. Let's scoop this up for our Spanish rice. And then again, this recipe actually calls for 2 medium sizes, a little bit big, but I love I love tomatoes. And I'm gonna be using Linditas as well, Linditas salsa. So if you go on my website and just go right to, it has all the directions on there. You can just place your order and get some Linditas, and you'll be cooking these up with my recipes. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. So we're gonna finely dice these 2. I kind of like it like that. 2 tomatoes, but I'm gonna use Linditas, and it's got the hot mix in there, but you go ahead and add the mild if you're not a hot person, and that's okay. That's a big tomato, no? But you'll see, it tastes so good. You'll see what I'm talking about. All right, we're gonna dump all that in there because now I'm gonna take it over to the stove and we're gonna just start making our rice. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the heat. Yeah, I'm gonna add, I didn't use up all my oil from my meat over there, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it here. And it's about a little teaspoon of it. So we'll get that nice and hot. Let's move it around. Yeah, just like that. We'll get it nice and hot. And the cumin, I'm using the cumin seed, and my abuelita used to use this. It's not really common, but it is common in our house. So go ahead, you can just sprinkle it in there. If you don't have the ground, or if you use the ground, just use like a quarter of like a teaspoon. But here I'm using the seed, and it gives it a real nice flavor and also a nice look when you're cooking it up. That's how my abuela used to do it, so I'm going to share that little secret with you as well and make it yours. And here I'm going to go ahead and use the long grain rice. It's long grain, 1 cup, and that's it. So I'm going to just sprinkle it in there and stir it. And you want it to go into like a golden brown, so I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit. You want it to get toasty as well, because what happens is once you add the liquid, it'll help the rice kind of pop and open up. I did that also with my arroz con pollo. It's the same concept. Okay, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit because it's gotten to the consistency that I want. Nice and brown. So we're gonna go ahead and add some liquid. And you have to be really careful here. Just like that. Woo! Jump and joy. Yeah. So it's about 2 to 3 cups, and you want to keep some water aside. I did use warm water for this. It's not, you don't have to because I've done it both ways, but just because my grandmother used to do it like that, and my mamacita. Okay, so this is a good time to add your spices. And this recipe doesn't take all that much, okay? If you don't have like 2 cubes of the bouillon, go ahead and add the Knorr. And I use the Knorr that has the tomato in it already. And I use 2 teaspoons. So you want to sprinkle that in there like that. And this is also a good time to add your tomato and onion. Get every bit of it. Okay, just a little bit there. These two are trying to get away. Okay, there we go. Every little bit counts. And again, like I said, I've gone ahead and I'm going to add 1 cup of Linditas, and I'm using the hot mix. So this is also a good time, and it's got beautiful color and flavor. And again, you can go right to linditasalsa.com and it will pop right up the recipe and also the salsa mixes. So you can cook with me on a lot of my shows. How beautiful is that? So that's going to cook now for about 18 to 20 minutes, let's just say. And this is something that I love for color. And in Mexico, they do put in, in Texas as well, they do put in the green peas. They also add like carrots and stuff. But I love the green peas just for color. And they have a good flavor too. So now we're going to keep this one at a medium heat for just a little bit. You want it to boil, come up to kind of like a little boil. Once it does that, like it's starting to do right now. So this is a good time that I'm going to go ahead and just cover it, bring it down to a medium heat, medium to low heat, and then I'm going to cover it and keep my eye on it, just like that. Now we're ready to rock and roll with this black bean and corn salsa. And I just want to tell you, this is a great side dish. Have it as a side dish or as just salsa with your chips or whatever you like. My brother Freddie, I gotta tell you, I gotta give him credit, and Patricia for sharing this recipe with me, because it's almost springtime, or it is around the corner. And you want something like refreshing, something to pop. And that's one of the reasons I'm doing this recipe. So let's get started. You're gonna need an onion. So a yellow onion is good. This is actually a yellow onion. It looks a little white, right? But it needs about, I would say about 1/4 cup of the onion. And I did dice it up earlier for my recipe. So I just want to just make sure I just get those a little bit like that. Actually, this is perfect. You don't want too much onion in there, even though I love onions. Like my son Ian, I'm telling you that story. But anyway, I told you that last time. But onions, we cook with a lot of onion. And this recipe is wonderful. It's very refreshing. So we're going to do that. We're going to toss in. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just toss in the onion right now. My bowl. And this is probably a good time to throw in like it's a 15-ounce can of the yellow corn. Where am I? Okay, it's the yellow corn. And so you want to drain it. Make sure you drain that, okay? So we're going to toss that in there. And the same thing goes with the black bean. I did rinse this out, so you want to get the water in there and just put it in a strainer and get it all out and just add it right to your bowl. And then your jalapeno. Okay, jalapenos, it's how do you test these? They told me at Nick's Garden Center, one of the reasons, the veins that are in there, when you have veins in your jalapeno, is that it's hot. So that's kind of one way to know what it is. Otherwise, you go to the grocery store and you have to no, you don't bite into it, but you'll know the heat. And this is a mild because it doesn't have any veins. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this up. And if you want, you can take some of the seeds out. I prefer to keep the seeds in personally, just because I do. I like the seeds. And of course, if you don't want them, just go ahead and just take a spoon and just, scoop it right out. And they'll come right out. So you don't have to worry about that. So that's what we want to do. Get rid of the stem. You don't want it in there. Just kidding. Okay, we'll chop it up a little bit more. Again, just gonna toss it right in there. Híjole. My tomatoes here. And I don't know if you've noticed my little display over here on the side. Well, let me show you real quick. This is from Dahlia Campus Health and Wellness Center. They provide they have a greenhouse, and I get all my greens there right now. And you can get that information also on their website. It's on the credits. At the end of the credits, all that information will be on there. So you can place your order, and they do these little boxes, and you just, whatever, veggie you want. I've got kale, I've got greens. I mean, I've got everything in here, and fresh little tomatoes. Oh, they're wonderful. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dice. Like I said, there's always a technique to this, so it doesn't fall all apart. I'm doing it just like that. I love my tomatoes, boy. And they're good for you, no? Okay, just get the end. You get some big chunks in there, that's okay. They're tomatoes. You're supposed to do that. I'll move this out of the way. We'll do our other tomato. Again. Let's see. I know, you can smell. Oh, they're so fresh. Oh, they're beautiful. I'm a product of the tomato fields. I was a migrant worker, farm worker, and this is the first crop that I picked when I was 6. Yeah. Move that out of the way. But I love these tomatoes. I told my sister Chabelita I was going to do something with them, and sure enough, yeah. So we'll go ahead and scoop it right in there. See? We got everything in there. Not quite. We've got a lime. Gotta have lime. I'm telling you. Gives it that flavor that you want. This doesn't have any seeds in there. So if you don't, I'll use the bigger one. I love lime. So if you don't have one of these babies, go ahead and use a fork, un tenedor. And what you do is just go in there and just clean it out. Oh. See. Okay, we're not done yet. Like I said, if you don't have one of these, just go ahead and take your fork and you scoop it out and squeeze it, just like that. Okay, and then of course you need your avocado, a fresh avocado, and you do this right at the end because, as a matter of fact, I forgot to add, we have 4 teaspoons of Lindita salsa mix, and that gives it, and I love the heat, so I'm using the hot, and you don't have to use the hot, go ahead and use the mild if you want. So we're gonna sprinkle that on, and then we're gonna mix it up here in a few. So this is always a surprise, right? When you're doing the avocado, you don't know. Whoa, this is beautiful. Mira, perfect. So what you want to do here is I'm gonna go ahead and just cube it. Just like that. And we're gonna toss it in. It's very refreshing. Okay, just like that. I'm gonna take that off. Go ahead, cube it, real simple. Go ahead and add it into your salad. Like I said, this is a great side dish, or you can have it as a fresh salsa as well. So with that, we're gonna add some fresh cilantro and just a little bunch. You don't have to have a lot, but I do love cilantro, so I'm gonna throw some more over here. It's got like just about a tablespoon, but you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit more. And we're gonna let it sit there for just a minute. And everything looks just beautiful. It's almost ready to serve it up. Okay, let's do it. Carne guisada. Oh, with my Spanish rice and Alfredito's fresh bean and corn salad. I'm gonna toss a little bit of cilantro and add a little bit more cheese. This is queso fresco, and you can buy this at your grocery store anywhere. So I'm gonna just sprinkle it on a little bit just to give it a little color on my meat. And it's very delicious. And again, this recipe is, look how easy this was. It was amazing. It doesn't take too much time, and it's really fun. It's colorful, and you're ready for the spring. And which reminds me, you know, Nick's Garden Center, I just want to say thank you for being a wonderful sponsor and just providing a lot of our beautiful plants and some of our produce. But also Dahlia Campus Health and Wealth Being, they have been wonderful. I used to work there. Let me tell you, I was their chef, and their greenhouse is amazing. So for those that would like to get more information, just go to the end of our credits, and they'll be listed right on there. You can get their phone number, and you can call them if you don't have internet or whatever. You can call them. The numbers are right there, and they'll give you the pricing and when you can come pick up your box of greens. And they change throughout the year. So again, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone, and you, the viewer, that has been watching our shows, and I hope you're enjoying our traditional ways of cooking. And Linditas, you know, I've been around, and for those that are interested in getting Linditas, just go right to linditasalsa.com and click right on there, and I'll be cooking a lot with Linditas. So, you know, feel free to place an order, or you can go over to Amazon.com. They also sell it as well. So, Nick's Garden Center, Amazon, linditasalsa.com, we're right there. And again, check us out on Facebook and Instagram and all the social media. We're out there. And like I said, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for joining me and making this show a real success. Salud, mis amigos. Until next time, enjoy. Thank you.